Hello and welcome to the monthly November wrap up. So this month on paper was meant to be probably one of the best months of my life. Didn't turn out that way, but let me update you with what's been going on. So this month, in the beginning of the month, was my birthday, and I went out to dinner and then to a bar with a few of my best friends, and it was a lovely evening. So I had an absolute blast turning 38. So that was a great start. And then unfortunately, my youngest kiddo got sick right around the time of my ex-sister-in-law's wedding. So I was able to go to the ceremony, which was stunning. I'll show you some video in my vlog later on this month so you can see bits and pieces from it, but it was stunning. She looked beautiful, and I'm really glad I was at least there for the ceremony. I decided to head back home to spend the evening with my sick kiddos instead of going to the reception, so I didn't miss out on that. But it's probably for the best, because the next day I woke up sick. And at first I thought it was just a flu because we were testing negative. A couple days later, we were both positive for COVID. So this is the first time my kids and I have had COVID. We've never had it up to this point. And yeah, it wasn't fun. It really was not. For me, the weirdest symptom I got was in the evenings. I had restless leg syndrome in my legs and in my arms. So every night I was in bed doing like the YMCA and the Macarena and the crazy inflatable second-hand car salesman dance until 5 a.m. So I would be jamming away in bed. And then at 5 a.m. I'd pass out for 2 hours and then have to wake up and take care of everyone. Thankfully, that only lasted 5 days, and then I was able to sleep from that point on. I'm about 2 weeks into it now, and I just feel good enough now to leave the house. I'm still not 100%. Brain fog and fatigue seems to be the issues that I have, but as anyone with chronic illness knows, that's pretty much a daily thing: chronic fatigue and brain fog. So I'm quite used to them. At the moment, they are quite severe. I pretty much do an activity and then I have to take a nap for an hour to balance it out. So I'm pretty much sleeping most of my days away still, but I'm hopeful it'll eventually lessen and I can get some more spoons in, because this bitch has a lot of stuff to do before Christmas. And at the moment I am like low-key panicking that I'm not going to get everything done, but you know, I can't push against it. If I push, I just fall asleep. So yeah, that wasn't fun. And because of COVID, I missed out on going to the Måneskin concert in Melbourne. And Måneskin is my favorite band of all time. Their latest album, Rush, is my favorite of theirs. I spent the entire day crying, bawling my eyes out. I actually filmed, and then I was like, I can't put that on the internet. That's too much. It's too much to see. But I was very, very, very devastated, because I don't know when they're going to come back to Australia. I had a cute little outfit picked out and everything, but it wasn't meant to be. I remember I was in all of the stages of like grief, denial, anger, going through all of those. At that point, I thought maybe I can get well enough by the Saturday and I can fly up to Adelaide and see them there, or I could fly to Japan and see them there. Girl, no, no, it's done, it's over. Like, I'm not going to see them in concert this year. So that was a very low point for me. I was a bit, woe is me, why is this happening? It's not fair. I also missed out on going to my mum's family's Christmas lunch and also going to an art gallery with my best friend. COVID came, and my busiest 2 weeks, the 2 weeks that I had all of these events that I really, really wanted to go to, that's when it happened. So this whole month was a real lesson in letting go, surrendering, I guess. Things that were out of my hands, out of my control, that I just had to make peace with. And I am okay now, but man, I feel sorry for all of my friends and family who got all of my tear-ridden voice memos on that concert day of me sobbing that I was going to have to stay home. But you know, I'm not about to go and create a super spreader event. Like, when I'm sick, I stay home. I don't want to spread anything around to anybody. So yeah, this month I missed a lot of events. Had a lot of events planned, didn't get to go to them. Dating wise, I went on one date, but it wasn't for me. It was for my best friend, because I thought this guy would be a great match for her. She's still in Hawaii, so she still hasn't gotten my messages about the dude. I think by the time she gets back, she's just not going to be interested. So that's probably a waste of my time. I have not, since that date, I have not spoken to anybody online. I'm at the point where I'm once again in hibernation from dating. I don't think I'm going to go on any more dates this side of the year. I just don't see it happening. That being said, if someone really cool comes my way, maybe, but I'll update you if that does happen. But at the moment, not even talking to anybody. Also too, had COVID for 2 weeks. Like, if you saw any of the videos I posted, you'll see, like, my brain was a dumpster fire, pretty much, and it still is. It still very much is. This month, I also ended up finishing my Solace Oracle, and at the moment, I've taken it down because one of my friends bought the Disco Rocks Oracle, and it did not show up the same way it showed up for me. So her deck had issues. It came in a clown-sized box. It was very weird, and I'm just thinking, like, how did this happen? I'm very confused as to how it happened, because what I received was very different from what she received. And so I've taken it down, I'm going through it, I'm proofing it, I'm going to email, obviously, Gamecraft to see if there's some sort of printing issue, which I have had with them before. And I've had it with decks and the books, and I've had to email and be like, hey, what's going on with this? And they're like, oh, sorry, that seems to be an error. Here's a credit. So yeah, it's been a bit of a nightmare. I am trying to resolve it as quickly as possible and put everything back up online. I just don't want anybody to get dodgy stuff. That really upset me. I'm just trying to make sure no one gets what they're not supposed to get. So I will try and get them back up as soon as possible. But like I said, it's very hard to, if I get something and it's fine, and then someone else gets something and it's not fine, and I don't understand how that's happened. Now, on to the other things that I did this month besides lie in bed. TV wise, I ended up watching Matt Rife, who's a comedian's new Netflix special, Natural Selection. I generally like Matt Rife's stuff. I think his crowd work is phenomenal. Like, he's really good at just playing off the crowd. This particular special, I don't know, it's probably my least favorite comedy special of his. All of his other ones were self-produced too. This was his first like big production, but for me, just, I don't know, fell a bit flat. So it was fine. I still chuckled a little bit. It just wasn't his usual. And yeah, I also watched Schitt's Creek because when I'm sick, I watch Schitt's Creek. It's my comfort show. It makes me feel good. So I watched a lot of that. Movie wise, I watched the movie Genie. So it's a very sweet, cute, quirky little movie. The guy gets unlimited wishes, and I'm sorry, my dude, but you're telling me all those unlimited wishes and you don't wish at all for like world peace or ending world hunger. Like, you don't try. You got unlimited wishes. So that was a bit silly. It's a bit flawed in the logic of how this guy spent his wishes. If you watch it, you'll be like, really, man? Really? But it was fine. It was a very easy popcorn kind of movie. I also watched Quiz Lady. This was funny. It was about two sisters, and one is a quiz maestro, and their dog gets kidnapped because their mother racks up gambling debts. So they go on the quiz show, try and win the money. But I found it quite enjoyable. So I did like both the movies I watched. They were very feel-good kind of movies. In regards to books, I think I read around 30 books this month. I'm not actually doing a book wrap-up on my other channel because I don't have the energy to do 2 wrap-ups, so I went with this one. But even though I didn't have a 5-star read, unfortunately, I did really enjoy the book After the Forest. So this is it's a fairy tale retelling of Hansel and Gretel and Snow White and Rose Red. It's very dark, it's morbid, and I enjoyed it. So it was a pretty good book. I had a good time. Music-wise, well, Måneskin, my favorite band, released a couple more songs for their album Rush, and I love all of them, but my absolute favorite is the song Valentine. So highly recommend, go give it a watch. I think it is stunning. It gives me goosebumps, and it has personal meaning for me because of the song title. That's a very meaningful word for me, and I really loved it. So Valentine by Måneskin was my favorite song that I've listened to this month. In my garden, so I have started to see some fruits appearing. Some raspberries were ripening. I've got apricots just absolutely laden on the tree to the point that it's always on the ground. So I think I'm going to need to stake that. And by me, I mean my ex-boyfriend who has a gardening business is going to have to come and stake that. The apple tree is also full of fruits. I've had some poppies in the garden and some passion flowers. I don't know if these passion flowers are going to actually turn into passion fruits, So my ex did plant them, and that was the aim, to have my balcony covered in passion fruits, but there's a very high chance it's just going to be passion flowers, which I'm going to be a bit devastated by because I thought passion fruit, but at least the flowers are really pretty. Now, cafe wise, I did manage to, at the start of the month, go out and about a little bit, so that was really fortunate because I spent the rest of the month in my cave. But out of all of the cafes that I went to, Terra Twilight in Collingwood was the absolute standout. Amazing food, nice music, nice vibes, nice decor. So that was the standout of this month. And that orange spice chai latte was amazing. I think I'm probably going to go into my chai latte era now. That's just kicked it off for me. Now on Kickstarter, I did back quite a few decks. So I'll tell you what ones I backed. So I backed Inner Ecology. I just really like the art style. This one, I don't know if I'm going to like it. It's one of those ones where I'm like, it's a bit of a punt. It's a bit of a punt, but I liked the aesthetic. I like its theme. Like anything that's flora, nature based is probably going to get my attention, even though I have so many decks that are in that category. It's because I love that category. So that's that one. I also backed Viator Somniorum, I think is what it was called. Interesting. Once again, and there's not many that I backed this month that I'm super confident in. These are all like, ooh, I'm having a gamble, so we shall see. I also backed Grounded Wisdom as well, and then I also backed Wisdom of the Sacred Oracle. So it's like some of them have very similar names, but yeah, so there were the 4 decks that I decided to roll the dice with this month. We'll see how they go. This month I also did the end of year tarot tag. I thought I'd get it in early so that people can do it in December. I know that the mid-year tarot tag, people found it very late and they felt like they couldn't do it anymore. So if you feel like doing a little end of year tarot tag, feel free to join in on that one. But that was nice to sort of wrap up my year of tarot and oracle decks. This is my 2nd year in the community and as someone who uses decks, so I haven't been using them for long, but it's definitely been interesting just to see what's changed since the 1st year when I started getting into decks. 1st year was definitely the accumulation year. That's just when I bought anything and everything and then tried to figure out what was for me, what wasn't for me. This year I've been more selective. I've still had decks that have come and I haven't loved them. That I think that's always just going to happen. Sometimes you just don't connect with a deck, but for the most part, almost everything that I have bought has been fab. A lot of my friends have been creating and publishing decks as well, I've noticed, and I think that's amazing and I think that's fantastic. But that's everything for this part of the segment. I'm now going to show you all of the decks that I received this month and all of the crochet items that I made this month. I can't believe I almost forgot to mention the winner of my giveaway. So after having the kids pull a name out of a cup, the winner is Lucid Moons. So I will contact you and get your details and ship off the presents to you. Congratulations.
Hello. Okay, guys, let's look at the decks and the crochet portion of my month. So here we have the Moon Dust. I pre-ordered this so long ago based on this. Okay, so this is all it had back then. It had a lilac box. It was called the Moon Dust and I had this image, classical art. So I thought, oh, wow, this speaks to me. I don't pre-order mass market decks anymore unless I can see all of the pictures, man, because of this reason. So look, this is a pretty good guidebook. I actually really like it. I think it's done well. I love the little poem at the start. I think it's very well done and it's a nice touch. So the guidebook I actually do enjoy. The backs I think are very pretty. I like them. You know, it's moon, it's purples, it's gold. The cardstock isn't a fave, it's gloss. I'm not a big fan of gloss and the sharp gilding, so I don't love that. Artwork, look, some I like this one I do like. It's very romantic, it's very fairy tale-esque. So some of the imagery I do enjoy, especially the ones that have the more classical art angle on it. However, I would say, well, she's bad bitch. The majority of the artwork isn't for me. Like this one, it's a bit, I guess I would say like overdone in a way, like, and it's very galactic-y, very cosmic. This looks like For some reason, I see Selena Gomez. I don't know why, but it's just very washed out. Yeah, so look, I don't know where I sit with this one. Like, I do love this picture. And this one as well. It gives me Lana Del Rey vibes. So, I don't know. I think I have to work with it a bit more. At the moment, it's still very, very new. Look, it's just, I think just the main thing is aesthetically, it's not 100% for me, and I don't love the cardstock, but I do like the guidebook, and it reads fine. So I just have to play with it a bit more. I really hate that picture though. There are some that I just really don't like. And normally I would want to see the Two of Cups in a reading, but because it looks like this, I don't. So it's a bit weird. Yeah, so I have to put this in my purgatory bin. There are some cards that make me lol. Like, I'm not here to yuck anyone's yum, but this reminds me of Schitt's Creek, Moira in the Crow movie. That's what that reminds me of. Yeah, so I think I just need to work with it a bit longer. And like this Queen of Wands doesn't really give me Queen of Wands energy. Like, it's a very meek Queen of Wands. So yeah, I'm putting it in purgatory, and we'll see how it goes, whether or not I decide to keep it. But yeah, at the moment I don't love it. Yeah. It just makes me laugh. Like, just the awkwardness of the Photoshop, I guess. Like, what, that was a choice. Yeah. But yeah, so we'll see how we Look, it does make me lol, and that's a good thing. This is just like, it's like watching your mum and your stepdad make out. That's what this feels like to me. So yeah, I'll let you know. I do like that one. If I was going to pick a favorite card, it was probably the High Priestess, the Lana Del Rey lady. That was probably my favorite. This is kind of cool too for a Four of Wands. I feel like that does hit the vibe. I don't know why they oversaturate some areas though, but yeah, we'll put this in purgatory and see what happens. All right, so next here we've got the Sunstone Rune Oracle by Threads of Fate. So this was a Kickstarter. I have their other decks, and I think that they're very well done. So I decided to give this one a try. The guidebook, it's like, look, beautiful quality. This deck is stunning quality. So kudos to that. I think this is really well done. So I actually really enjoy the little poem at the start and how thorough this is. So I think it is well done, and I like that they also talk about why they did the artwork. Now, the aesthetic wise, like, don't love it just because I'm not a big primary color girly. I know I've got the BuzzFeed Oracle, but yeah, in general I'm not. But I think, look, I think it is absolutely beautiful. For me, it's just about whether or not I'm a rune girly. So I did have physical runes, and that just, no, it wasn't for me. And I thought I'd try a deck of runes out, and I'm still uncertain. I just find runes in general have a heavy energy for me, and it still comes across in the deck. Like, I don't know, there's just a weightiness to them, and a bit more of a negative slant, I guess, for me. So I'm not sure if I want that in my life. You know what I mean? I have to decide, but this deck is beautiful. It is really well done. It's just the theme, do I want a rune deck or not? I don't know. I like that it's also added some Nordic mythology cards in there on top of the runes. But like I said, some of them just really stunning, and I do like it as a whole. It's just, yeah, whether or not I want a rune deck. So this one is also going into purgatory. And I thought I'd do a little segment of like, pick my favorite card. I think this one is my favorite card. And like, look, this is very handy. This index card, super handy, because I don't know any of the runes, and I think this one is Issa. So super handy. I just love the spot gloss. I think it's a nice touch, and it just adds a bit of three-dimensionality to it. So for some reason, these rocks in space is my favorite image in the deck. Okay, so now we're going on to the ones that I've actually made bags for as well. For some reason, I don't have, this yarn didn't have a tag in it, so I don't know what yarn it is. But I did it in a Trinity stitch, and I've got a little lolly kind of pastel button on there for this one. So unfortunately, don't know what the yarn is, but in it I have the Modern Nirvana Oracle. So I went with the pastels because this one has pastels. Now, so this is a mass market deck. This guidebook, I don't think it's going to last a long time. The binding has like come away from the spine, and I'm a bit worried it is going to lose pages. So with this one, this is written by multiple people. So you can see based on whose little initials are at the end, who wrote it. So I do find it does vary quite a bit in regards to how it's written. It also includes the sigils. I'll just have a look at the thing first. So look, the backs, I love it. It's got an 80s kind of vibe. I edged mine in a sort of salmon pink to go with it. And it's on that satin kind of cardstock, which I'm not a huge fan of because I find it just, it clumps a bit. So it's not the best to shuffle, but obviously it's durable. Yeah, so they've got sigils in there. I don't love the sigils. So I love the other artwork. I think it's really cool. It's, it gives me like fashion vibes, like a really cool magazine. I like the color palette. I think it's really interesting and different, but yeah, I'm not a big fan of the sigils. I don't really use sigils either. So I just find them very jarring compared to the rest of the deck, which I find is very pretty. I do like the themes, the subjects that they do in the deck. So I enjoy it as a whole, but for some reason I don't love it, and I'm not sure why. It could just be because, like I said, it's written by multiple people, so it does feel a bit disjointed in that way. But yeah, I'm not sure. I made a bag for it because I was like, yeah, I think I'll keep it. But I actually think I might put it in my purgatory bin because I'm just not, I don't know. Like, I do enjoy it. I like it. It does go with a lot of decks, which that's a really good thing. It's very versatile in that way. But I'm not in love with it, and I did promise myself that I would only keep decks that I really, really, really like in my collection. But I do have space now that I've commandeered my kids' playroom. It is sort of my old study anyway, but I have used that bookshelf now. I've gotten rid of some books to make space for the decks, so I do have space to keep it. But I don't know, it's like, should I keep a deck that I'm like, it's okay? I don't know. So I think I might put it into my purgatory bin and do a bit more work with it and see how it is and work with it in a different way rather than just, pulling cards. So it's very pretty. I just don't know why I don't love it. I've got to figure it out. Like I like the aesthetic of it very much. And like I said, I think most of it is well written. But yeah, I think maybe I just need to spend some more time with it and figure it out. But this one was the Modern Nirvana Oracle. And I think my favorite card visually is Discernment. I just really like the retro vibes and the black and the pink and the green. I think it's just chef's kiss. It's very pretty. It's very eye-catching. So yeah, that would be my favorite card out of this deck. Okay, so up next, we've got this bag here. So I know that this yarn is Great Southern Yarn. I don't know what color it's in because I've lost the tag. But beautiful yarn, one of my favorite yarns of all time, this brand. And that's a little close up of the button, and I just did it in a Suzette stitch. So in this baggie, such gorgeous yarn, I have the Fyodor Pavlov Tarot. So with this one, this is the new thing of like expensive mass market decks. So mass market decks with a bit more production quality. As you can see, it's a hardcover book, and therefore they're a bit more expensive, but less expensive than indie decks. This is done well. The guidebook, I definitely wouldn't, this is not a beginner's deck for sure. I do like that the creator obviously talks about the cards in regards to how they have depicted the cards and what they mean to them. So it is interesting to read their perspective. The book, like I said, beautifully done. The backs, very classic, with the gold foiling and the dark blue. It's got the shiny gold gilding on it, and the cardstock is, I guess it's a linen. It looks like it's a linen. So this one I bought because my best friend really wanted it, and so I bought it for her birthday, and then I wanted to be twins and have one as well so that we can both have the same tarot deck. It is stunning. I do like the artwork. It's just, I guess the limited color palette isn't really a lot my vibe. you know, so I wasn't really drawn to it myself per se, but I'm glad I do have it. It's definitely something that I am keeping in my collection. I will say that I just didn't work with it a whole lot this month. I did have a lot of decks that I did work with this month, and for some reason, yeah, I was just drawn to working with this one less. I think it's, like I said, just because I bought this based on my best friend wanting it rather than my own desire to own it. But yeah, I'm pleasantly surprised by it. It's, like I said, it's lovely quality, especially for a mass market deck. I would definitely say it's not as great quality as indie decks, so it's, you know, definitely right in between that mass market and indie deck kind of thing. I think a reason too that I don't really love it that much is because there are a lot of men in there. I don't particularly love traditional depictions of men, I guess. Maybe that comes into play. It's also, I find it is quite brutal. It's a bit brutal. It's not the most warmest decks, but yeah, there is a lot of like masculine depictions in it. I love that one. That's stunning. But yeah, it's one that I'm keeping and will try to work with a bit more. I think I need to give it a few more turns, you know, before I file it away. But yeah, like stuff it doesn't, I don't know, I don't like it. I just don't like looking at it. So I think that's one of the turn-offs, but everything else is lovely. So my favorite card out of this deck is actually the World card. I just really like the depiction of the woman. I love her body. I love the use of color in this one because, like I said, this is a more limited. Normally it's one color per card, whereas this one has a few different colors in it, and it's got like the bounty of the wreath. It's very just evocative, and that would be my favorite card out of this deck. Okay, so next up we have this bag, which I actually really like. I'll bring it up close. So this one is done in King fiber. This is their merino cashmere nylon 4-ply in chameleon, and I did it in lemon stitch, and I did it to match one of the cards, and I'll show you which card I did it to match. So this is the Southern Botanic Oracle. So this is an indie deck. I got this because I love the Southern Gothic so much, so I thought I'd go for this one. This one, however, has like very little divinatory meaning. It is mostly all about the plant, which, okay, great, but yeah, I wanted a bit more of like, what's the divinatory meaning of this card? So you got the 2 keywords, I guess, up the top as well, but like one of them was literally just one sentence right at the end. And I was like, I want a bit more. So I don't love the guidebook. So here are the backs. Like, they're pretty, they're nice. I edged mine in a green. It's that cardstock, again, like it's the satin cardstock that is a bit clumpy. You know, it's a bit clumpy, but like it's a nice quality. The images on here, stunning. Like, I love this creator's art style. I think it's absolutely beautiful. So you've got the name of the plant, its Latin name, and then the 2 keywords. I feel like you don't need to put the Latin name on the front of the cards. I feel like it's just a bit unnecessary text. That's my personal opinion. In terms of the plants and that picked, very cool. Nice kind of mixture of different types of plants, so I appreciate that. The overall images on the deck are moody but beautiful, like gorgeous. Like, how beautiful do those strawberries look? So I love the aesthetic of this deck. I got this card quite a lot, but I don't love this one as much as I love the Southern Gothic. I do like that one a little bit more, and I think it's probably just because of the guidebook not having as much of, like I said, divinatory meaning. It's more about the plants, and that's just because I have a lot of plant decks. So I love crepe myrtles. I've got one in my driveway. I know a lot about plants, and so it's not that I didn't learn anything new, because like, look, I don't really know a lot about the tobacco or the swamp lily, but I just wanted a bit more of a divinatory write-up, not just taxonomy, sort of about the plant. So this is the one that I used to pick the yarn for, the sugar maple. So look, I still think it's lovely. I probably don't need it though in my collection, but I am still going to keep it because it is beautiful and it's a lovely piece of art, and like, I do enjoy using it. It's hard to pick one favorite card in this deck because I do love all of the artwork, but I'd probably pick the hydrangeas because it's just something about hydrangeas. I always notice them, and I've always wanted some myself, and for some reason I just haven't been successful in growing them in my garden. I'm going to keep trying though, because I really do like them, especially the blue ones. But yeah, I love all of the imagery in this deck. Like all of it is absolutely stunning. And yeah, it's hard to pick just one card. Look at that iris. I mean, gorgeous. Okay, so next up we've got this bag here. So this is in West Loft Green in Georgiana. It's a 4-ply, and the stitch is called Mixed Cluster, which, as you can see, it pulls a little bit. So it's not one that I will use again as a bag stitch. And in it, I have my Earth Child Tarot. So this is an indie deck. It comes with this little booklet. Look, this is definitely not a beginner's deck. These write-ups are a bit odd, a little bit weird. Not the usual. Like, I still do read them. I'm just interested to see like sort of what they say, but I do tend to read this deck intuitively myself. These are the backs, which I like. It's very high quality. It's got the rainbow holographic edging, and it's on a gorgeous matte cardstock. This is 100% an inner child deck for me. It just appeals to my inner child. And even though it's pippish, I don't mind it because of its use as in it's an inner child deck. So the simplicity of the illustrations does invoke that. It's, I don't know, like it just reminds me of sitting down with my Derwents and colouring in, you know, and then like, oh, I'm going to learn how to do gradient colouring today. It's just, I like it. It's got a very gentle, playful, innocent kind of energy to it. So it's not confronting at all if you want a reading that, you know, is just chill and it's not going to, you know, be visually confronting. So I appreciate it for that. I don't have a lot of inner child decks. Like the other one, I guess you could say, is the Playful Heart Tarot, but that doesn't feel as childlike as this one does. This one feels a lot more tapping into that young energy. And like I said, I think the quality is really well done. I love how it read for me personally, and I absolutely did enjoy my time with it. So I'm really glad that I've added it to my collection. It's not one that I've seen a lot on TarotTube. Maybe obviously it's not that popular, but yeah, there's just something about it, and it appealed to me. So yeah, whenever I want to do inner child work, or if I want just a bit more of a gentler reading, this is a deck that I would absolutely pull out for that. And if I had to pick a favorite card, I'd probably pick this Empress one. For me, it just reminds me of my childhood with my late grandmother, my yaya. We would spend all of our days together in her garden. She had a gigantic garden. She was a gardener, and her roses were her sort of pride in her garden. They were lilac roses, and she always used to cut me one whenever I went to visit her to take home with me. And this just reminds us of our time together, making memories, you know, me making my mud pies or like painting the house with some water and a paintbrush. I don't know if everybody else did that as a child, where you just got a bucket of water and a paintbrush and pretended to like paint in the bricks. But it just reminds me of those like summer days spent outside pottering about. And that's why it's my favorite one. So the next deck, I have not made a bag for it yet. I'm in the process of making a bag for it. It's the Solace Oracle. So it's Oracle that I made, that I finally completed. I haven't really played with it yet. I just did an interview with it. It was so cute. It's so weird. I was like, oh, aren't you a sweet little thing? I find that once a deck is finished, it has its just own personality and quirks. Distinct from me. So I had a fun time doing the interview spread with it. And yeah, I'm currently making a bag for it. I'm happy with how it turned out. There's a whole thing with making your own decks. You're not going to love every single card you do, which I know sounds really weird. It's like, well, why would you just leave that card like that if you don't really love it? It's just to get it done, to complete it, and also to overcome perfectionism. It's just not possible to be 100% happy, I think, with any art that you make. Maybe some people are able to, but I'm just like, yeah, I'm just going to have to settle for, 90% happy with how it turned out and move on. because I don't have like an unlimited time in the world to just spend on perfecting each individual thing. So yeah, you know, as a whole though, I'm really happy with it. People have been really lovely with their comments. Thank you very much. You're very, very sweet. And I really appreciate all of you and all of your kind words. I say this is probably one of my favorite cards in the deck. So I just like the color scheme in it. It's like got a 70s kind of vibe for me, but I also like the actual theme of that particular card, you know, metamorphosis, generative detritus. It's like blossoming from the death and decay, you know, from the compost. But yeah, I'm having a play. It's been a lot of fun. I think this is probably my second favorite card. I guess I like the dark and moody ones, you know, Thorny Liberation, Release. It's very Scorpio of me to go for like the death and release cards. But those are probably my favorites out of all of them. So yeah, this is the Solus Oracle. Next up, we've got a bag. So this is the bag that I ended up doing for the Lost and Found Oracle. So this is the button. This is in Cascade yarn in 5/6/15. And yarn 1 Corey. That might be a typo. In Hedgeberry Red. And I did it in Tulip Stitch, which was very interesting. I'm not sure if I would do Tulip Stitch again, because it is a bit like holy. You can sort of see through, but it's kind of cool. I might do it again. I might give it another go. But yeah, so I went and just bought a red and a blue yarn to combine these, because if you don't remember, the backs of this one look like this. So I wanted a blue and red one to match it, and now that is done. Now this deck, I filmed a walkthrough of this deck, and I don't know what happened to it. I don't know what happened to it, guys. But for me, if I've already done something, I can't do it again. So that goes for ex-lovers and also filming decks that I've already filmed. I just can't do it again. So I'll tell you about the bag before I show you the deck that's inside here. So this, I combined 2 yarns. So I've got Patterns Baby Dreamtime Merino in 3913. I've got Dyed by Hand yarns in Catabatic Winds. And then I also used the blue yarn from the Lost and Found Oracle, the dark blue one. So I did, yeah, three yarns are in this one, and this is in basket weave. This stitch, bro, not only does it take forever, it takes up so much yarn, and I will never do it again. So this is going to be the only bag that I've ever done in basket weave stitch, because no. And in it is the Empyrean Tarot. So I bought this as an add-on to the Sunstone Rune deck. The guidebook is fantastic. It's got a lot of information. I think it's very well done. It talks about the art as well. And it's got career, love, and resources as particular elements. These pages, though, are like little mini stories for each card. And I don't really like them. I don't really see the point in them. So I just don't read them anymore. I did in the beginning. But this and like this, amazing, like really well written. Could definitely be a beginner deck, because it just gives you a very fundamental and also then nuanced reading of the cards. So I think this guidebook is excellent. And like all of the Threads of Fate products, the decks are high quality. Now, I'm unsure why I bought this, because this is a lenticular deck. So it's made out of plastic, and I normally don't like plastic. So I don't know what past Chanel was thinking, but anyway, the backs are beautiful. I think they're stunning. They've got this rainbow holographicness to them too. I don't know if you can see it, but beautiful backs. Now, all of the cards have 2 images on them. Sometimes it's literally just like this one. It's the same image, just magnified. But some of them, it is an actual different image. I don't know if this is like coming up. There's good old Medusa as the devil. I think the artwork is beautiful. So I do really enjoy the artwork. I like the color theme. It is very heavy on the blues with a bit of pink, purple, and reds. It's very moody. It's got like a fallen angel kind of energy to it. or gods, fallen gods vibe. But I do really, yeah, I like the style, I like the aesthetic. Like I said, some cards are better than others in terms of like what you get in the image. But I have enjoyed playing with it. It's a bit tricky to shuffle because it's so thick and slippy and they just kind of all slide out. But I wasn't sure. I was like, oh, do I keep this? Do I not keep? I'm gonna keep it. I think like I said, the guidebook is just so well done, and it is a bit of a novelty kind of deck. It's interesting. Like I think people would really probably enjoy it if I read for them with this particular deck. It just adds a bit more interest to a reading. But yes, I'm apologies. There will be no walkthrough because I just can't do it again. I don't know what happened. I have been losing a lot of footage, and also with the brain fog from COVID, I'm just not on it. I'm just not on it at the moment. So I'm kind of don't want to actually film anything until I'm over this brain fire. But yeah, so this was the Empyrean Tarot, and I'm definitely going to keep it. In terms of a favorite card, I would probably pick the Hermit because I think it's also beautiful. It's got the double image, which is actually a bit different. It's giving me a little bit of Mary Magdalene kind of vibes to it as well, especially with like the diamond heart. But I just think it's very pretty. It's very well done. And Hermit's one of my favorite cards in general, and I like this interpretation of it. But that is everything for this monthly wrap up. Till next time, stay wild, Star Child.